Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode number 125, number 125. I'm Victoria Gallagher, Law of Attraction hypnotist and #1 best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction, Align Yourself with the Manifesting Conditions and Successfully Attract Your Desires. I'm also the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download that app from the app stores. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Art Giser. Art Giser is the creator of Energetic NLP, a powerful synthesis of NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming, spiritual principles, and transformative energy work. He's an internationally renowned NLP trainer, executive coach, intuitive hypnotist, channeler, and healer. And Art is known for his humor, caring, miraculous remote energy work, and his ability to help people release energetic and unconscious blocks and limitations and open up their miraculous abilities. Art's unique and diverse background includes working with Fortune 100 companies to develop exceptional leaders and teams, managing a medical research lab for the University of California, NLP, spirituality, coaching, transformative and healing energy work, and intuition development. He's studied with a diverse group of healers, psychics, and spiritual teachers, and Art has 2 empowerments from the Dalai Lama of Tibet, including one to increase his abilities to heal others. He has written the book, Discover Your Miraculous Self, which will be available January 2021, and he can be found on energeticnlp.com. And today, Art is going to be sharing some of his insights on clearing and rewriting limited energetic programming and karma. So welcome to the show, Art.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Well, it's the guests that make it the great show, guests like yourself. So
I have to say, I want to get your app with 500 hypnotic inductions. That's fantastic.
It's pretty amazing. It's 21 years of my life's work, and it's actually probably more than 500, but I just keep saying 500, but it's probably like getting to be 600 or 700 by now. I keep making them.
Fantastic.
Yes, it is. So let's talk a little bit about how you got involved in NLP and got involved in this work. How did you get your start into this?
Well, even when I was really young, I wanted to be a scientist when I grew up. I was very logical. In fact, my father was in charge of like the 3rd mainframe commercial computer that was out in the world. And so I grew up around wanting to be a scientist and logic and all of that. But there was also a part of me that was very mystical. And even when I was really young, I knew things like, extrasensory perception. I just knew that they were true. I didn't know why I knew it, but I just knew that they were true. So I'd always had both streams in me. And when I went to college, or I have to say for my UK friends, when I went to university, it's a different term, I got a degree in biology, but I was one of those people that by the time I was done, I realized this isn't really where I belong. But I was one of those people, I just didn't know what to do with myself. And I was having fun. I moved to San Francisco and I was having a great time, and I found true love and everything was great. But I was one of those people, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. And I'd always had this knowing that something was going to just appear one day. And so I had this degree in biology, so I thought, well, I should do something with it. And I miraculously got a job at one of the best research institutions in the world, which is the University of California Medical School in San Francisco. And first they hired me to work in this lab, and then I started managing it. And it was a good job. I was proud of what we were doing. We were investigating how estrogen and progesterone affects the tissues in a woman's body. So it was really worthwhile work. But you know, that feeling like I don't belong here. And it was very seductive because there were just great people. I could have lunch and listen to Nobel laureates. But meanwhile, I'm thinking, well, when is this thing going to appear? And after a while, I thought, well, maybe I've just been lying to myself as the years went on. And what's wrong with me that I can't figure this out? So I went from being a very adventurous person to being totally stuck. Not in other areas of my life, but in terms of career, I was just clueless. And I went to a talk on intuition. And during a break, I went out in the hallway and there was a flyer on a poster board. And it said on it, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And when I read the words, it literally felt like a bolt of lightning hit me on top of the head and went through my body. I mean, they talk about being hit by light. It was just like, boom. And I picture like the Greeks going, Jupiter just gets you. And the scientist in me was going, what was that? And the mystic in me went, what was a sign? What do you think it was? Mm-hmm. So I walked back to the rest of the lecture and I'm not sure what to do with this information. And they were selling all these books on intuition development. But one of the books wasn't on intuition development. It was on Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP. And I thought, now that's weird. That's got to be a sign. So I bought the book and started reading about NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And it was like worlds were opening up to me. Everything, I'd always liked psychology, but it always seemed too rigid and it didn't seem right to me. At the time, psychology was rigid and they would talk about you'd have to be in therapy for 5 to 12 years. And it just didn't feel right. But when I started reading about NLP, it made a lot of sense. And for people who are listening who aren't familiar with NLP, the most famous person in our field is Tony Robbins. And he does this whole Tony thing around it that's uniquely him. But the core of his ability to change people's lives, to transform their lives, is his study of NLP. And once I got involved in NLP, everything was miraculous. I mean, one of the developers of NLP, even when I was in my first class, it's a long story, but I ended up being in her research group. So every 2 weeks I was meeting with trainers and top people in NLP, and we were developing new stuff together. And I was the new dumb guy, the new person with people thought I had all this potential, but I didn't know much yet. So I was kind of like the empty mind, if you will, who could give fresh perspective. And, and every time I'd go, they'd be going, thank you, because it was just phenomenal experience. And,
I love it. I love it.
But this was all in Marin County, north of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And for people who don't know Marin County, if you throw a rock, you hit either a yoga teacher, a psychic, a healer, a naturopath. And so there were people in the program who did a lot around psychic development and energetic development and healing. And they started teaching me things. And then one of them said, oh, you ought to come to our house. We're having this incredible psychic, Lynn Martin and his wife are going to be there. And they're teaching a workshop over the weekend, but Wednesday night, we're just going to have fun. And they're just going to read people. I went, yeah, great. And I come in late. So Lynn didn't have a chance. Lynn was the man. I didn't have a chance to talk to me or anything. And we're all sitting in a circle and everybody's asking him questions. He's got his eyes closed. He's not even looking. So he's not getting any feedback from people. And people would ask him a question. And if they asked a decision question, he would go, well, it's not for me to tell you what to do. You have free will. But if he asked anything else, he would answer them. And sometimes the answer wouldn't seem that important to me, but I'd look at the person and their eyes and get why. You can tell when somebody said something to somebody and it just, is opening up their life. And I'm thinking, well, this is interesting. So being a slow study sometimes, when it got to me, I went, I'm studying NLP and I'm not sure what to do with it. Do I want to teach it? Do I want to have a private practice? Do I want to, work in corporations? And he does his usual, well, you have free will. It's not for me to tell you. And then he goes, but there's something else. And he proceeds to tell me my most incredible, deepest fear, which I had never mentioned to anybody. ever. And it probably didn't sound like a big deal to anybody else, but my eyes were probably that big. And I think my mouth was hanging open. And then he goes, you don't have to worry about that. And he goes on to the next person. And I felt like this weight come off my body.
Wow. Wow.
So I changed my schedule, took the workshop with him that weekend. And by the end of the weekend, he had somebody wrote down a question, folded it up. You went in pairs and you held the question in your hand without reading it. And you were supposed to answer it. And I'm thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing. And so I just start talking to this guy, whatever comes to my mind. And he goes, well, I actually wrote down 2 questions and you answered them in order. And I went, okay. And so it made me think, I am one of those special people. I do have these abilities. And then I really started studying it. But then I discovered something even more important, which was I was completely wrong. I wasn't one of those special people, because everybody's one of those special people. Everybody who wants to can develop the ability to work with energy, to read energy, work with earth and universal energies. As much as my ego at the time would have liked that I was a special person. I mean, we're all special, but what I loved and what I've been doing the last 35 years is teaching other people to open up their miraculous abilities. And that's my superpower. I'm really good at that.
That is amazing. What a great story. So you say that everyone has miraculous abilities. Why do you say that, and what are those abilities?
Well, a couple of the more evidence-based reason I say it is that anybody I've ever worked with who wanted to develop their abilities did. And some of the people I work with have been doing it for 30 years, but other people are complete newbies. But also when I tune into the energy, that's what I'm told too, that just everybody has the abilities. And when I read people's energy, it just looks like it's built in. And the abilities that I'm talking about, so one is the ability, the expression people use is to read energy, so that I guess I should back up and go, energy contains information most of the time. And sometimes people go, what do you mean by that? And I go, the only way we can communicate is through energy. So right now people can listen to us because what we're saying is being turned into electrical energy and turned back into vibrations in the air, which is energy, which hits our eardrum, which, is turned into electromechanical energy and then chemical energy. So all communication is done through energy. And human energy contains emotions and thoughts of whoever it came from. So when you read somebody's energy field, you're reading the information that's there. And that information can be from the person, or it can be because we absorb other people's energies. And sometimes people that are very psychic forget this. They'll read something in somebody's energy field, but it's not really theirs. It's something they absorb from somebody else. Or it could be from a past life or wherever. But so one of the abilities everybody has is just to know things, to just read energy. And I should separate those out, to read energy, but also to channel energy. So one thing's in energetic NLP, because what I do, because I put together NLP with energy work and spiritual principles, is it's a new field of energetic NLP, where NLP is just a piece of it. That when you read some of these, you can read people's energy fields, but the other thing is you can tap into universal sources of information. And I try to create a safe, wide space for people. So I don't inflict my beliefs on my students. In fact, at the beginning of my workshops, I make them take a pledge not to believe anything I tell them. And they're laughing. And I go, I'm serious. I go, in energetic NLP, I want you to connect to your inner wisdom and your spiritual information. I don't want you to take mine. I want you to play with what I teach you. And I even made up a term, beliefs du jour. It's kind of like soup du jour. So I don't believe that what I believe right now are going to be my final beliefs, even if the words sound the same. Like 10 years from now, I would hope I would have developed enough to either have different beliefs or a richer understanding of my beliefs. So we can tap into information, whether you think that comes from God or angels or guides or the universal consciousness of people. You can learn to tap into trusted sources. And so part of my work is teaching people to do that. Part of it is to read energy. And again, everybody can do both of those things. The other is to use earth and universal energies to transform their own life, but also to work with other people. And that could be in a corporate setting, that could be with your family, that could be professionally, with people in the helping professions, and teach them. And the next part of it is people have the ability to connect their inner wisdom and spirit together. Because what I discovered years ago is a person's spirit, with its vast awareness of everything, is not necessarily communicating with their inner human wisdom. And in my way of seeing things, our spirit is almost like the perfect parent going, whatever you want, dear. You want abundance?
Yeah.
That's a valid path. You want to struggle? Well, that's another valid spiritual path. Not because it doesn't care, but it just sees all these possible spiritual paths for us and lets us choose. Where your human inner wisdom is human, and it's kind of going, excuse me, I know they're all valid spiritual paths, but can I have the ones that are healthier, happier, more loving, more abundant? And when they work together, it forms something that we call your miraculous self, which is not your high self. It's the alliance between your spirit and your inner human wisdom. So in my programs, we develop that and then connect it more and more strongly to your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and your body. So more and more people, as you go through life, you constantly feel guided, supported, nurtured, and healed, no matter if the world's falling apart or the world's great or whatever is going on. And I've watched the love of my life die from a long illness, and people in the programs have too. And when you feel, thank you, when you feel guided and supported by your miraculous self, it just changes the nature of everything. It doesn't, and the goal isn't to suppress your other human emotions, but no matter what goes on in my life, on a deep level, I feel joy. On a deep level, I feel guided and supported by life, by the universe, by spirit. And that just changes everything. And that allows everything to be part of your spiritual growth rather than being positive or negative in the way people normally mean it. And it allows you to avoid a lot of problems. The Dalai Lama talks about natural suffering and unnatural suffering. And natural suffering is, we're in bodies, we get older, we care about other people, just things happen in life. Unnatural suffering is the things that we spiritually and psychologically create that we didn't have to create.
Right.
And so the goal is to lessen that, but not to be afraid of the challenges either, and not to be afraid to have a human life, which means you'll have joy, you'll have grief. And again, when you have this foundation of spiritual joy, when you have this foundation of feeling always guided and supported, it just changes the nature of everything, in a phenomenal way.
That's great. That's great. So tell us
I'm not sure
about.
if I really answered your question, but.
Yeah, no, definitely. You definitely answered it. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about whole being permission and how does not having, having it limit people's ability to access the power of their mind?
Yeah, it'd be great to have a longer conversation with you about this because I know abundance is one of your specialties. What I found is, for almost all of us that do law of attraction work, abundance work, sometimes it works fantastically and other times it's like, at least in my experience. And so years ago, I became curious, what's going on there. And there can be a lot of factors, but what I started noticing is that you can think of there being different aspects of a person. So they have their individual spirit, they have their individual soul, which is different than the spirit. They have a conscious mind, they have an unconscious mind, they have a body. and then they have karma, and they also have spiritual contracts. So your conscious mind may be visualizing what you want, but your soul might want something different, or your unconscious mind might want 12 different things, or your karma at the moment may not be allowing it, or you may have spiritual contracts that are interfering. So whole being permission is when your spirit, your soul, your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, your body are all in alignment on what they're trying to manifest in your life. And you clear and work with your karma to allow it, and you change spiritual contracts to allow it. And when all of those things happen, then you manifest much more of what you want in life. And we call that, again, whole being permission.
That makes a lot of sense. I equate that to, in my book, I talk about alignment, with, body, mind, and spirit, as well as conscious, subconscious, and super conscious, and all the manifesting conditions. Yeah, everything's in alignment.
And I think so many people don't appreciate that. They go, well, I'm visualizing what I want. And I'll go, yeah, but your soul wants something different. Your unconscious mind's all over the place.
Exactly. Yeah. You think that you want this, but there's actually a deeper part of you who wants something different than that. And it's going to work against you, or you might have, maybe you want it with all of your being, but you've got some limiting beliefs that are getting in the way of that.
Exactly. And then if your karma is getting in the way, then, and we do a lot of work with karma, and because karma is very changeable. And when I talk about karma, I'm using it from the way, because people mean different things by karma. There's different theories about it, but I'm using the system the Dalai Lama talks about karma, where it has nothing to do with reward and punishment. It's just cause and effect. Time. So you can change those cause and effects. You don't have to just keep letting them operate.
Right. It's it's not even positive or negative, but it's the consequence of. So I'm really excited. One of the things I'm really excited about, because I'm getting a little interference still on my end when I'm speaking. So I do apologize for that if anybody's hearing that through the recording. But so I'm going to let you do most of the talking here, because it's not coming from your end. But one of the things that I'm really excited about is you have a process that you wanted to take us through. And I love doing that with my listeners of Power of Your Mind podcast, to take you through actual strategies and techniques. And so you have a process that helps people to open up more to their full potential. Can you share a little bit? Can you help us, go through that?
I would love to. And for the people listening, it's really simple. I'll go through it and then I'll review the steps. It's actually really, really simple. And it's something they can continue to do afterwards. It's something if you do it on a daily basis, your life just gets better and better. And what it's based on is a couple things. In energetic NLP, we use symbols and metaphors a lot because it's a way to access the unconscious mind really easily and to access your hidden abilities. And one of the metaphors I like to use is that of a magnet, because pretty much everybody either played with magnets when they were a kid or they watched somebody do it. So your unconscious mind knows that a magnet is this little thing that has power and energy. And if you hold up a pin and you hold up the magnet, all you have to do is let go and it goes to the magnet. The magnet does all the work. And in fact, magnets are more powerful than gravity, because if you put a pin on a table and you hold a magnet above it, the pin goes up, even a little magnet, which means that little thing overcame the Earth's gravity. It's just pretty amazing when you think about it. That
is amazing. I never even really thought about it like that. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I heard of physics. When I studied physics, I didn't understand when they go, well, gravity's a weak force. I'm not, and magnetism is a strong one. And you think, what are they talking about? And that's what they mean, is even a little magnet can make it go up, which is really, so your unconscious mind knows a magnet can all you have to do is let go, and the magnet will do all the work. Energetic NLP embodies the lazy part of me. It's we call a lot of the work energy spas. You relax, you put your miraculous self, which is your inner wisdom and spirit, in charge, and you just let the energy do the work and let your miraculous self do the work with it. There's no analyzing or figuring it out for most of what we're doing. And what we're going to use these imaginary magnets for is that people accumulate energy all the time. We're like sponges. And if most people could look in the mirror and really see their energy field, they'd be embarrassed. I mean, just like if you went to a really nice party and you discovered there was something on your face. I mean, people's energy field, it's a crude analogy, but like how dogs in the field will roll in the doo-doo? People's energy fields kind of look like that. I mean, and it's not bad or wrong, but the good news is you can clear it. And because energy contains information, like I said earlier, contains information, contains emotions. When you have other people's energy in your energy field, you feel emotions that aren't yours. You have thoughts that aren't yours. It's hard to make decisions. You get confused. It can make you really, really tired. I've been around somebody, and even when it was a really nice experience, sometimes it's like, you're really tired later and you're not sure why. You've absorbed a lot of their energy. And it isn't whether their energy is quote unquote positive or negative, it's not yours. So when we're interacting with people, any type of intimacy, whether it's with a friend or a spouse, you start mixing up your energy, but then you want to be able to clear it back out. But when you were in your mother's womb, we all started absorbing energies from other people, from our parents. So even people who never knew their father and mother, you absorb their energies because they were programmed to program you. And parents are constantly energetically, even program you, even in the womb. So even before you actually pop out, they're programming you. And again, that's a good thing because everybody has to be programmed to deal with the society they're in. But then we grow up, and for people who would listen to your podcast, we're modern 21st century people, and the old ancestral programming isn't cutting it. It keeps us in a box. So one of the things that can help open up more people's potential is just being able to clear energy every day, both the accumulated old energy, and again, it can be from past lives, it can be from the womb, it can be from childhood, or it can be from 5 minutes ago. And the other reason to do it is when people are feeling their genuine emotions, they can handle it, whether it's anger or grief or anything else. But what happens is we'll be feeling an emotion and then we pull in matching emotional energy. And that's where people get out of control. They might, so like some women sometimes go, I don't know why I'm crying, I'm just crying. Well, a lot of times they've absorbed, people call it male grief. It's an energy. The idea is that when a male baby is separated from the mother, there's a certain grief about not being connected to female energy anymore. And that a lot of women will absorb male grief from their fathers, their brothers, their boyfriends, their friends. And then they'll be going, I don't know why I'm crying, and they're crying because they're accessing those energies, but they're not really theirs. And I think that's why we have road rage too, is people leave energy on the highways of frustration and anger. And if you open up to it, it just pours in and then people get nuts because when it's somebody else's emotion or thoughts, we'll make sense of it because we're programmed to make sense of it. I'm sorry, I thought I turned that off. My apologies, everybody. We'll pull in there, we can handle our own emotions, but when other people's emotions are there, it can overcome us. And grief is another time where people can handle their authentic grief. I mean, they might feel really bad, but they can handle it. What happens is people start absorbing everybody else's grief too. Or maybe in the womb, you were absorbing your mother's or father's grief and anxiety. So the point is, by clearing your energy every day, you're more authentic. You can connect more with your own spirit and wisdom, your own abilities. And it's really, really, really simple. Much simpler than all that explanation. That's just
let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So there's a couple rules on this. One is if people are listening to this while they're driving, turn it off, because I'm also going to be running energy. Remote energy work is a big part of energetic NLP. And even on a recording, you can access the energy, whether you feel it or not. And the energies, it's like a whole symphony of energy. Some are very high frequency, and they're designed to get you to go inward, where you can go into deep states. So you don't want to be listening while you're driving. Even if you don't believe in energy work, just don't listen when you're driving. The other thing is you're not allowed to be serious. If you're serious about this, you'll get about 100th of it. If everybody listening was 5 years old and they went, okay, put out a magnet, let it clear your energy, you'd all just do it and you'd giggle and you'd do it phenomenally well. So for everybody listening, turn down the, am I doing it right? Is it working? Just pretend you're 5 years old and being playful, and just do it like it's a fun game. And don't worry about if it's working. You'll figure that out later.
Okay.
The last rule is right now, everybody, if you want to, go, I'm giving permission for my spirit and my human inner wisdom to start collaborating and form a miraculous self. So just go, I'm giving permission. It's my intention and my permission for them to work together and form a miraculous self. And then give permission for your miraculous self to be in charge of this process. Your miraculous self will figure out what energies to remove from your energy field. You don't have to consciously figure it out. Just give your miraculous self permission. And then take a deep breath and relax. And imagine a magnet floating out maybe 20 feet, 6 meters or so in front of you. And just imagine, pretend it has the ability to pull energies out of you that aren't yours, aren't in present time, or aren't helpful. And your miraculous self will figure this out. So energies that aren't really yours, aren't in present time, or aren't helpful. And just pretend that as you give permission, energies are going out to that magnet. Just pretend it's happening. And then let that magnet drop into the earth, and the earth will recycle the energies. Then imagine a magnet high above your head, and let it clear from your shoulders all the way up above you, going up at least 9 feet, 3 meters. And energy is being released from inside your neck, inside your head, from the back of your skull, from your forehead, from the top of your head, and all around you, your whole aura or energy field around you. Energies that aren't yours, aren't in present time, and aren't helpful are going up to that magnet. And then drop that into the center of the earth, into the earth, and let the energy be recycled. And this is my favorite one. Put a magnet behind you and let it clear the back of your body and the back of your energy field. Because a lot of energies hide behind our backs, literally. So your whole back of your body now, give permission for your miraculous self and the magnet to clear energies that aren't yours, aren't helpful, aren't in present time. And let that magnet go into the earth and let the energy be recycled. And the fourth and last magnet is in the earth below you. And let it clear from the base of your spine down through your legs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, your toes, the soles of your feet. And let it go down at least 1 meter, 3 feet below your feet. Because your chakras, your energy centers aren't all in the body. They're also above you and below you. And just give permission now for your miraculous self and the magnet to clear energies that aren't yours, aren't helpful, and aren't in present time from the whole lower part of your body. and from your whole energy field around the lower part of your body. And then for fun, take one more magnet. And if there's a part of your body that's not feeling in excellent health, maybe the stomach or a muscle or somewhere, or your lower back, if there's some part of your body that's not feeling really, really wonderful, put a magnet out in front of it, a few feet out in front of it, and give your miraculous self and the magnet permission to clear energies out of that part of your body that are causing distress or disease or problems or discomfort or pain. And those energies go into the magnet and then just drop that magnet into the earth. And you never, ever, ever want to clear energy without refilling. So imagine a golden ball of energy high above your head, and give your miraculous self, or we call it your M sometimes, give your miraculous self permission to use that golden ball to retrieve your energy from wherever you scattered it. Because it isn't just that you have energy in your energy field from other people. We leave our energy in other people's energy fields. Sometimes because we're upset with them, sometimes because we're trying to help them or heal them. Let your miraculous self use that magnet, that golden ball above your head as a magnet to retrieve your energy from wherever you scattered it, past, present, and future. Bring your energy back to the present. And if your energy was in somebody else's energy field trying to help them, give your miraculous self permission to take your energy out of their space, but to replace it with earth and universal energies that will really help them. And as your energy comes back to that gold ball, the gold ball cleans up the energy, makes it sparkling, and your miraculous self inspects that energy. Some of that energy isn't truly yours. It came out of your energy field, but it was never really yours. So the energy that was never really yours goes into the earth to be recycled. Your authentic energy is cleaned up, made sparkling, and it just comes down into your body and energy field, filling you more and more with your own energy. And then also give your miraculous self to fill any space that's left with earth and universal energies that will support you now and in your next steps in life. So you're bringing in your true essence and earth and universal energies that will support you into your chakras, into your cells, into your DNA, in front of you, above you, behind you, left and right, below you, into all your energy channels and all the layers of your energy field, your aura. And then imagine from the very heart of the earth, a column of energy comes up near the base of your spine. And give the earth permission to ground only your authentic energy into your body. So give it permission to ground you, but only your authentic energy is grounded into your body. And a fun way to visualize that is you can think of every cell in your body has a point of light in your energy body. Every cell in your body has a point of light in your energy body. And when the earth grounds you, every point of light pops into the cell it belongs in. Just boom. And that column of energy from the earth is like the root of a plant. So what nurtures you from the earth, energies that nurture you, love you, acknowledge you, heal you, are flowing up that column into you. And whatever your miraculous self wants you to release is gently flowing out of you back down into the earth. So there's this gentle and still powerful flow of what nurtures you is coming up. What you're ready to release just flows back down. And then move a little bit, stretch. It helps to stomp your feet, pat your body, look around the room you're in, notice little details of what you can see and hear. Patting and stomping, all that brings you back into the body.
Wow, that was wonderful. Love that. Yeah, I just feel so, I feel like a shift in my energy field. I literally, each layer of that definitely, caused like a lightness of being. And it just feels lighter, and it was interesting when you got to the part, the fifth time, where you said, and if there's anything left, because I was thinking to myself, oh, for some reason I just kind of have this little angst in my stomach area still left. And as soon as I, put the magnet there, it just pulled out the last little bit of, yeah, so that was great. And then refilling it with my own energy, my reclaimed energy. That was wonderful. I really love that. I think that would be a great process for anybody who's just, well, for any purpose, but even particularly, I think for somebody who's dealing with any anxiety or nervousness or fears or worries or anything like that. So that was wonderful. Thank you for taking us through that.
Sure. Before I'll just real quickly review the steps, but what I recommend to people, and you can do it real quickly. I mean, if you have a minute, you can do it in a minute. You can take longer, but if not, just magnet energy, So when you first get up in the morning, particularly if you're like me and you wake up like all groggy, I'll do this, and then I feel like, oh, world, I feel like a whole new person. And do it then. You can do it if you have a big meeting or you're going to give a talk or something first. You can quickly do it. If you've had, if you're going to go see family or something that could push your buttons, do it first. Do it while you're there. Do it later. But I always say at least do it in the morning and the evening, sometime in the evening, because you'll sleep better. You'll have better dreams. And you'll process better if you do it at night. In the morning, the day will go better. And then, again, if you get anxious or something goes on during the day, like I always tell people, I mean, not so much right now, but when people work in office buildings and stuff like that, you can always go to the bathroom and go in a stall and do it. I mean, but when you get good at it, you can just do it anywhere real fast. I mean, I can be talking to people, and if my buttons are getting pushed, I can do it real quick. But people in the helping professions, it's really important to do it. Otherwise, most of us absorb our clients' energy, which causes all kinds of mischief. And the steps, again, you put your miraculous self in charge, which is you ask your inner wisdom and spirit to work together. And that's your miraculous self. You put it in charge. And sometimes I just call it your M for short. And so it's deciding what energies to clear. You put one magnet way in front of you, clear the front of your body and the front of your energy field. Second magnet's above you, clear from your shoulders up inside your head and all around you. And we have chakras in our energy field above our head going up, usually 9 feet, 3 meters or so. So all of those are getting cleared. And each time you drop the magnet, lift that out into the earth and let the energy be recycled. The third magnet's behind you, clears the back of your body and energy field. And a lot of energies literally hide behind our back and we don't notice them. So that's a real important one. And then the fourth magnet's in the earth, clearing from the base of your spine to your legs, your feet, and all around your energy field. And then you can take that fifth magnet and just if there's anywhere that's not feeling good, clear it. So that's all the clearing. And then you put a gold ball of energy above your head and it retrieves your energy, cleans it up. Any energy that isn't really yours is sent into the earth to be recycled. your authentic energy descend down into your body, your cells, your DNA, your chakras, your energy field. And then you just ask your miraculous self to bring in earth and universal energies to fill up any space that's left. And then you're good for
Wonderful.
10,000 miles. Yeah. No.
That's great. Thank you so much for taking us through that process and for this wonderful information. Let me also let our listeners know that you're giving away today a video that's an energetic NLP energy spa. Now, is that similar to this? You want to talk a little bit about that and how they can get it?
It's different processes, but it's similar. And I do training programs too, but energy spas, you don't have to think, you don't have to figure things out. You just put your miraculous self in charge. So I have a video, it's about an hour, and it's all about increasing your confidence, your power, and your ability to be in action. So confidence, power, and ability to be in action. And people can, once they sign up, they can watch it on demand anytime they want.
Ooh.
And it's at www, of course, and then ENLP for Energetic NLP, ENLP, and the number 10.com, and that will take you to it. And if people enjoyed the magnet process, we do way more in that hour because it's just focused on doing it. So we'll do a number. They'll clear some karma and programming, and a lot of things will happen. So the people who've done it, he says modestly, have told me that it really makes a big difference. So
yeah, I bet it will be. Well, that's a very generous offer for our guest today. So go to www.enlp10.com and you can get your energy spa session that's going to increase your confidence, power, and ability to get into action, which I know is really useful for a lot of people right now. I know there's, people have their energy impacted in a lot of ways, causing them to maybe not feel like they have the confidence to get into action. So this is something that sounds like it will really help with that. This time and time.
I know it's something you've talked about on podcasts, but this is a time of great opportunity. With all the problems, there's incredible opportunities, but we need to have the confidence to try it, and the sense of our own personal power and that ability to act. So yeah, that's why I created it, is because so many people right now are getting, it's hard not to feel a little beat up between the politics and the economy and the pandemic. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, so this will definitely help get you moving toward the, getting it back into action and feeling the power and the confidence, because we all have the ability to tap into that. And that's what the Power of Your Mind podcast is all about, is all of these different, people and techniques and strategies coming together to bring our listeners the best in being able to get yourself into the best you possible. So thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you listeners for listening. Yeah, thank you.